And here is a look at who made the top 20 for the wing position in the NHL, according to numerous people here at NHL Network. This is what it came down to. Nikita Kucherov taking the top spot, Alex Ovechkin in the 2 spot, and Taylor Hall rounding out the top 3. These lists have gotten so much traction online. They are very, very feisty. Here's what E.J. Radick had to say. Didn't Halsey just win the Hart Trophy? How did he end up number 3? He'd be number 1 on my list. Ovi would be 2, and Giroux should be higher than 7. I'd have him 3rd. Enjoy the debate. And people were debating. Jamie Hirsch chiming in. Thoughts? I think Jonathan Marchessault should crack the top 20. What do you think? He's a very good player as well. Elsewhere, Jamison Coyle. Debate time. I'm going to take a whole lot of heat for this one, but if I had to pick my top winger right now, it would be Brad Marchand. Love how he plays 98% of the time with skill, spice, and swagger. Proceeds to not check Twitter for the next 2 months. He just knows people are going to be ripping him. Oh, that's so funny. And our boy Billy Jaffe. Here's a few adjustments I'd make. Ovi number 1, Marchand maybe a little higher, Tarasenko a little lower, Anders Lee in the mix, Besser probably off the list, but in brackets should be there soon. Right. Happy Monday, NHL Network list debate. So, a lot of different opinions there.
And this is why we have some fun with it, and certainly fans of certain teams, if you don't have their guy high enough or you don't have their guy in the top 20, they're going to ruffle some feathers. But that's okay. That's okay. Yes. It's subjective, and that's why we have some fun with it. And, yeah, we get in some debated, heated arguments as well. Who's number 1, who's 2, who's left off the top 20 list that should probably be there, but it makes it a lot of fun. All
right, so we heard from EJ, we heard from JMO, we heard from Jamie, Jaffe. What is your take on the top 20? Any adjustments that you'd make?
Well, I like the top 3, kind of the way it is. I mean, Kucherov, terrific here. I'm almost tempted to put Alexander Ovechkin because he won the Stanley Cup.
I'm not tempted. I'd do it.
So if you're asking, yes, I'm putting Ovi number 1, Kucherov 2. I'll put Taylor Hall 3 because of the Hart Trophy right now.
Okay.
And Claude Giroux, yeah, I might have him in the 4 slot right now. I think he had that good of a season. So
underrated.
It's whether we're, yeah, he had a terrific year. I love Patrick Kane, and he's done it for so many years. So it's subjective from the standpoint, do you go off of last year, or do you go the whole body of work the last 5 years of what they think you can do in the future? But top 10's always just we usually agree on the top 10 or somewhere around there, 9 or 10. It's the bottom 10 that you take guys off the list and whatnot. And it just the order of the top 10. But for me right now, because he won the Cup, I'm going Ovechkin as number 1.
Yeah, and I think the great thing about these lists, the reason they incite so much debate is because it's all about how you approach it. Are we talking about just last year? Are we talking about the last few years? Are we talking about heading into this year? I mean, there's so many different ways that you can interpret
and potentially
what a top 20
where's that guy going to be? And we all, I think, in general, we go off what they just have done, and that's okay, too, because last year Taylor Hall won the Hart Trophy, and he warrants to be top 3. EJ put him number 1 because he won the Hart Trophy. If he didn't have the season he had last year, obviously he wouldn't be quite as high as he is already.
Here's what I think Phil Kessel should maybe be a little bit higher on that list. I think he was at number 13.
But isn't he in a disgruntled position now with his coach in Pittsburgh and stuff? Does that have any bearing?
Anything to do with it? What are you talking about?
I'm stirring the pot, Jackie.
You are stirring the pot, but not a single Toronto Maple Leaf on the list either.
You know, well, Mitch Marner, I would think
top
could
20?
be in there for
maybe
sure.
Like
Brock Besser, because of injuries, probably. I agree with EJ, could drop down. Victor Arvidsson, you love him, but there's probably Mitch Marner, and Anders Lee had 40 goals. I might put him in there as well. The guy I would have higher here, Mikko Rantanen. I love him. 80-plus points last season. He's a guy that I would have higher. Jonathan Huberdeau, I mean, he's another guy you could put in the top. And how about Mark Stone? Mark Stone, I know Ottawa had a terrible year, but here's a guy that's a complete hockey player, led his team in scoring, only played 58 games, had over a point a game, and he's a complete player, the total package as far as a guy that you can rely on in every situation from that standpoint. Not a star, but just a good sound player. To me, he'd be in the top 20.
So moral of the story, there are a ton of very good wingers in the National Hockey League.
Oh, we could go on and on.
We could, exactly.